I also wanted to talk a little bit more about inflation today and look at things a little bit closer because the theory out there is the more money the government prints and spends, the higher inflation will be, right? Um, I don't think it's necessarily that straightforward. For example, if we assume that the money that the government printed during COVID, instead of giving that to people, let's assume the economy was doing okay, yet they printed money. And this is an extreme, but they installed free solar panels for everyone, right? It's insane, but extreme, right? Just a complete hypothetical. Then the energy prices would have went tremendously down for people. They would pay a lot less money for their energy, right? And the only inflation that would have been caused, for example, in this case, would be for the materials used in solar panels. But you wouldn't have really experienced inflation at the grocery store, right? Or when you're buying clothes or that sort of thing. In fact, energy energy demand would have went down, and so would have the price, right? If you didn't have a solar panel. However, as time proceeds, right, in this example, people would have more money in their pockets, right? More discretionary income. So later, yes, inflation would increase that way because people have more money to spend, so inflation might go up a little bit. And I'm talking about this because to me, it's not necessarily the more money the government prints and spends, the more inflation goes up. Yeah, sure, it may go up across certain products, and it depends really how and where the government spends that money. But in this theory, in this example, and in this theory, I think inflation is caused, especially when it's like a really hot inflation and you're getting higher numbers. I think it's when people have more money to spend, which means, right, everything I'm talking about on here, as the wealth disparity closes, we're going to have to deal with higher inflation. But since we are, or hopefully, if we're trying to make the wealth disparity better, right, more money in people's pockets to afford homes or to afford a vehicle or that sort of thing, we do need things like the Inflation Reduction Act. We do need to think ahead of what it's going to be like if people have more money to spend, because if people barely have money to spend, right, then yeah, you're not going to get inflation, but you need people to afford things like houses. So that's my theory on inflation. It's not just the government printing money and spending it, it's the wealth disparity getting better.